20 to 40 years is how long this looks ahead. It has been, it's reflected in the Eastern Bay of Plenty Spatial Plan and the local growth strategy, which is still being developed as priorities essentially for what we want to do to activate some development in the southern part of the district. As well as the master plan, there is some activation funding, once again from the Bylaw funding project, and that's going to go towards some amenity upgrades at Taniwha Park in conjunction with the water treatment project in Murupara. So it actually, there's some great synergies there, and it will help activate some of these parts of the master plan. But yes, important to note, it doesn't rezone the plan. It's not it doesn't sort of take the place of a Local Government Act or RMA process. Those will still need to be gone through to look at rezoning part of that activation. And it does capture both a mix of, I guess, planning or zoning stuff, future zoning stuff, but also housing and community projects. With that in mind, what I will do is pass to Eugene if you want to talk to any of the aspirations and the details, and then perhaps we can go to questions.
Yes, kia ora, thank you. Yes, as was outlined, Ngāti Manua have been closely involved in the development of the Murupara Masterplan, and as you would have seen both from my chairman, Kani Edwards' foreword, and also my own, we've ensured that Ngāti Manua's input has been linked to Te Anga Whakamua, which is our strategic plan, and ties in. And I did want to spend a little bit of time because it is outlined in my chair's forward as such, how we see the master plan integrating with our 4 strategic PO, and there are components of that which are really quite critical. You'll see one of them is Ngāti Manuatanga, which is cultural revitalisation. So the fact that this plan then enables and informs the upgrade for Taniwha Park, which of course has not only got recreational importance for our community, because all the kids jump off the pipe bridge there, but also of course it's called Taniwha Park because of our Taniwha that was there. So quite exciting for us and for our tamariki rangatahi to be able to see what we assume will roll out, which will be a revitalised Taniwha Park with suitable activities and graphics and the stories that resonate with our community. So that's part of that component there. In terms of Potahua, our economic development component, obviously some of the aspirations in terms of establishing a commercial zone on the main road and moving through with some of those things. And there's a number of things that are updated in with that. In terms of Taiao, many of you will be familiar, we have a strong environmental footprint and a range of things that we're doing. Oddly enough, one of the comments I got from Morris Toitoi was, whilst we acknowledge the impact of the heavy rains that are about to hit this region, it will be helpful for the tuna heke, for our eels to make their decision to move downstream. So again, there are always positives with these things, but I guess it's that thing you'll see within the plan. There's a number of environmental requirements that have been incorporated into it, and I guess also in terms of Potangata, the iwi development, 2 of the key things, which I know, and Councillor Boynton, your team has already been in contact with me as a result of our induction meeting last week regarding a letter of support for Ngāti Manua's application to the Ministry for Housing and Urban Development Flexi Fund for our Middle Drive development, which is in the plan, and we'll be putting that application in by April 22. So, and of course there's also Evans Park, and it has been flagged to me there are a number of vacant sections and empty homes that potentially could be used for housing in the future. So I guess the key thing that I wanted to outline is it has been appreciated that Ngāti Manua can work alongside Whakatane District Council and I Aotearoa in the generation of the plan. I can say we hosted a number of the community meetings. I think it does accurately reflect the aspirations of our community for what they want Murupara to look, feel and be like as a place for them to live in. And we understand that it's an aspirational document. We're not going to hold you to everything on each page, but it's important. And maybe finally, if I use the Waka analogy, as is outlined in my part, our ancestors settled there 500 years ago. Ngāti Manua fully intends to be there for another 500 years, but what we need is a wee bit of a map and a plan as our waka moves forward. We know with the changing tides and changing seasons, the way that we get to the end point may well change as we go, but this clearly outlines what Ngāti Manua and the Murupara community would like to see Murupara to be. So those are probably the key things. I'm later on happy to ask questions about the particular detail from Ngāti Manua perspective, but I just wanted to outline those points. Got it?
Do we have any questions and clarifications? Councillor Dennis. Okay, Councillor Mick.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and kia ora and welcome, Eugene. Great to have you here, and thank you very much for hosting councillors recently up in Rohi to get a bit more of a hands-on and foot feel for the master plan, and congratulations on it as well. I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the potential of the growth and liking the idea of bringing the town to State Highway 38 to capture some of that visitor traffic that's going through. The population seems quite static, like it's not like there's going to be a big massive spike, and I'm just trying to relate this to your housing proposals of the new developments versus the number of homes that are already empty. In Murupara, like is it just people will move into the newer homes when they get provided and a growing number of other homes will be left empty, or you're looking at attracting a whole new cohort of returning family members to the district?
Okay, thank you, Councillor. No, a very astute question. I guess in terms of our housing proposal, we're probably in year 2 of having worked through that, and the community needs assessment that was done is that there's a shortage of quality, warm, affordable, predominantly rental accommodation within Murupara, but also in terms of housing as well. So what we've been informed as we've gone through that business case has been that it is highly likely people will move into the brand new build affordable rental housing when that comes in. It would be fair to say that our housing stocks have been run down over the years, and the primary driver was safe, warm, affordable housing for the community that is there. Now, the second thing that bounces in is, of course, the rationale that if we do that, then we are providing attractive housing options for those who may want to return home and for those who may be attracted into the region. There's a number of commercial developments that our commercial company are hoping to bring to fruition. Obviously, with the geopolitical situation right now, it's a bit tenuous to say when they may bear fruit, but the whole idea is, of course, Murupara back in the heyday, I think, had a population and was spec'd for nearly 5,000. Last census had us at about 1,800. So the township was designed to accommodate that sort of population. If we can create the work opportunities for people to return home, that's what we're hoping to get to. So it's a wee bit of a combination of both, but predominantly so that whānau can move into warm, safe, affordable housing that will, of course, free up other housing that is probably at a lower standard.
Thank you.
Councillor Dennis.
Eugene just answered all my questions, thank you. Mine was basically around the commercial side and the ability to attract more work for the locals, etc. So thank you for that.
So, yep, thank you, Councillor. And I guess maybe just one quick comment with that too. We are in very interesting times, and intriguingly, what I can outline to you is our commercial company are certainly looking with investors, obviously predominantly based around Kaingaroa, which does drop, of course, into Rotorua Lakes Council's region, but actually is serviced pretty well from Murupara. And it is intriguing. You know, we all know the building materials sector and the milling sector right now is going through a hard time, but there's beginning to be a growing realisation not only you need sustainable building product, but it might be handy to have your building product closer to home these days, rather than importing it from South America. The second thing is, of course, as you are aware, there is a move to reutilise fibre for biofuel. All of a sudden, there's quite an interest in having fuel options closer to home as well too. So it's a difficult space, but it's an ideally placed space.
Councillor James.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I mean, this is sort of where my question was going to be leading to, is to, do you see any, or have you got any indication at all, which is probably a bit hard, of future growth, you know, for industry, or not even industry, but commercial operations in Murupara, you know, like Minganui have set up that nursery, which seems to be going pretty well. Like to say, who knows what's going to be available in the future. The big forestry operations seem to have moved away, but there could be other areas that come in to support some of those industries. Do you see any, do Ngāti Manawa have any vision on things like that?
I think vision is probably quite a good term to use it, because when you assess the, I guess, commercial opportunities within the region, for a start, we're right in the middle of the largest continuous plantation forest in the southern hemisphere. So access to fibre that is sustainably grown for a long time frame means there should be opportunities there. Obviously, biofuel, biochemicals, bioplastics, that sort of opportunity is looking at using what would be waste product, and having a factory right next to where they process the logs is probably quite a prudent thing. So location-wise, that's quite useful. Obviously, we do have a community that can provide a workforce quite quickly too, and the train line going from the KT log yard is of course specified for heavy duty loads and goes straight to the port. So there are a number of things. There is also, of course, I'm sure you're aware, a few years ago Ngāti Manawa was exploring the potential for accessing water from the deep aquifer. And again, when you have a look at what's happening globally, that could become more cost effective as the world goes on. So our assessment right now, one of the things that we've picked up within the forestry industry, unless you're processing, there's probably not an awful lot of additional jobs in place there. There's replacement, but obviously the forestry sector is mostly going to an automated approach, which I think can go some ways, but can't go that far. And agriculture tends to be fairly does not require the number of workers it used to in the past. So I guess what we're looking at is it's far more likely to be best use of the site that we're at in terms of the forestry sector, and also potential opportunities, energy in terms of solar, I guess, and the water opportunity would be the ones that we'd be looking to.
Just a supplementary, if you don't mind. Have Ngāti Manawa been looking at the Galatea Plains as to what, I mean, it's all dairying at the moment, but the Rangitype Plains used to be all dairying, and we're sort of becoming a dying breed out there now, but any other crops, possibility of crops in that could be grown, horticultural crops up Galatea way that would create a lot of labour?
Well, look, interestingly, we're doing a project with the Ramuramu wetlands through Bay Plenty Regional Council, and there's some sections there that are currently used for producing hay and stuff, where there has been a request, and of course Ngāti Manua Incorporation is our largest farming trust that's affiliated to the Runanga. Potentially looking at stocking, but stocking right next to a river that's right next to a wetland isn't that attractive for the Runanga, so actually cropping could be a way forward with some of those. Also, one of the learnings, I guess, out of COVID that came through was a number of iwi entities when it came to actually supplying kai for our people. That's quite good if you like sheep or beef, because we don't really do crops and things. So in terms of that diversification, what I'm saying is there could be opportunity as that moves through. The other advantage I'm thinking of is, of course, accessing water can enable an awful lot of things. So again, exploring that opportunity, which I know has been on hold right now, but could roll through. So we're not closed off to it, but I guess it is that thing of just working through the viability and working with the landowners themselves.
Yes, Mayor Nandor.
Thank you. Tēnā koe, Eugene, nau mai haramai, ki tēnei whare, ki tēnei tēpū. It's a great pleasure to have you here. And like Councillor Emmink, I just wanted to thank you for hosting us recently and showing us around the rohe of Ngāti Manua. And I think it's really brought alive this document for us, having been in those places, and you've described some of the vision for Taniwha Park, an example. So thank you very much for that. This is a really exciting document, I think. It shows a really great vision for a place that once was a really thriving, prosperous little town, and it's been through some hard times. And so the kind of the thinking that we're seeing from the Runanga around how to rejuvenate and revive the fortunes of Murupara is really commendable. So it's great to see. My question was really around, because you've talked quite a lot about some of the economic opportunities, and that's really interesting and helpful. In terms of the housing, you talked about accessing the flexible fund. Are you looking at becoming a CHIP, is it called, the community housing provider? You looking at becoming a CHIP, or are you partnering with other people, or how's that going to work?
So yes, and thank you, Your Worship, for the question. Te Runanga o Ngāti Manua has a memorandum of understanding with Link People, who are a community housing provider, or a CHIP. What we're looking at is the MHUD's Flexible Fund has a social housing line and a affordable rentals line that you can apply for. We're working with Sharon and Associates, and the recommendation is to explore a hybrid model where out of the 30 2, 3 and 4 bedroom homes, some will be social housing and some will be affordable housing. Social housing through a CHIP enables accessing to rental subsidies which can accept whānau there. Having said that, and I've actually got a meeting tomorrow with Link People just to firm that up. So we'll still be making a decision as to whether we go social housing affordable. If we add social, we'll be doing it probably in partnership with Link People, who are a CHIP. We're also talking with Link People about actually providing the tenancy management for the whole thing, because that's their area of expertise. It's not the Runanga's. So exploit that. I must confess they've been extremely helpful thus far, and it's been great to work through.
The vision of moving the commercial centre of town to the road is quite a big one. I mean, it's just quite a big shift. we saw the other day, you know, the benefits with kind of deteriorated buildings and that in the commercial centre. So I'm just wondering how you're gonna how you're gonna do that, is because it's quite a big move. And to say, I think it's a great idea because it's like you've got this big river floating past, and to be able to cast the net into that traffic coming past and get some benefit is you know, is clearly a good thing. But yeah, how are you going to approach moving the commercial centre? It's a big move.
Oh, quite frankly, this council adopting the Murupara Masterplan will be helpful. But I guess it's that thing, just so that we're clear, the area called Millennium Park, which is between the current cafe and the public toilets there, Te Runanga o Ngāti Manua has a concession from DOC for the commercial use of that, whilst we go through the process of getting that land handed back to us. So we've secured that land. The paddock next to that, Ngāti Manua alongside with the motor camp jointly own that. So we actually have secured that land, which is available, and you'll see in the plan, that paddock, which is called the horse paddock, because I was wondering why we were paying rates for a horse to use that paddock, but it turns out we're holding that paddock. There have been discussions with our local supermarket owner, and of course we also own Manua Gas, the petrol station. So once we have these things clearly in place, the potential goes through for us to explore that move and then offer that up to the rest of the commercial centres. But I guess again, it's one of the things to be able to construct new, fully compliant, safe commercial buildings that people can operate out of should be quite helpful. And I was informed, and I am quite surprised at the amount of traffic that utilise that public toilet facility as they drive through. So it is a thing of trying to entice them in. One more thing, just for your information, Te Ana Amaru, the caves that are about 9 kilometres out of Murupara, are currently under a DOC covenant. The area around there will be logged by KT probably May, June, so Kaingaroa Tipu, and we are going through a process with DOC to hand that back, and we fully expect to set that up so that it's actually a decent, if you will, tourist and cultural attraction. So again, creating more things that might actually entice people to stop as they go through. So that's the idea.
Anyone else? Oh, tēnā koe, Eugene. I did have some questions, but you've answered them along the way. There was the housing one, that was one of my first ones, so it's great to hear that the application will be moving forward for the Flexi Fund, because it's only open for a certain period of time or window, and you need to be right up there ready to run with it. So that's exciting. And as everybody else has mentioned, you know, the document itself isn't just the aspiration. You can literally see the step-by-step actions to make it become a reality. And it's exciting, absolutely exciting, but also too it's valuable for us to have you here today to listen to the extensive knowledge you have in the different aspects of the questions in the economic area, in the commercial area, in the housing, in the social area. So we hear and know just how thorough this has not only been thought out, but the steps that you're already taking and have already thought about. So for us, it's very valuable to have Ngāti Manua's master plan. E mihi atu ki a koutou mō tō mahi for your people. Thank you. So I'd like to put forward, oh yes, oh sorry, aroha mai. Kia ora, Jesse.
Kia ora, Eugene. Just a question on the housing in Murupara. Just wondering, with the amount of sales that have gone of the houses in Murupara that have been bought up by outside people, how come we as a Runanga haven't engaged in maybe purchasing those housing and repurposing them for part of our community?
Sorry, I'm smiling because I was asked exactly that question by one of my board members in my board meeting last night. Look, I think it is one of the things, to be fair, housing is one of our strategic objectives. I think we've been very focused on the middle drive opportunity. Quite openly, I think that's taken up all the bandwidth, you know. However, one of my board members last night asked exactly the same question and has asked me to do some work on that in terms of the future. You'll see within the plan, there have been a number of sales, there are a number of vacant sites. My understanding is that, yeah, and that could be something we could engage with more within Whakatane District Council, but I have been charged to do more work on that.
I'm not so much worried about the sale, I'm worried about the sales of those houses that have been bought up by people from our bigger centres of Auckland, Hamilton, those sorts of things, and not moving down there, but acquiring them and then renting them out to our locals, probably at exorbitant rent prices, given our area.
So, and just to quickly answer that, I guess it would be fair. We do have a number of, I guess, absentee landlords in Murupara. One of the, quite frankly, intended consequences if we land the middle drive development is that with the provision of 30 brand new, warm, affordable, whānau designed houses at affordable rentals, and just so that you know, the affordable rental is looking somewhere between 65 and 75% of market rate. Effectively, people will vote with their rental accommodation, and then those who own properties will then make a decision as to whether they upgrade or keep their investment. And so that's part of the idea too.
Yes, Councillor. Yes, thank you. Seconder? Oh, Julie? Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Jukes? That the resolution is that the Murupara Masterplan report be received and that the Strategy and Policy Committee endorse the Murupara Masterplan. Any debate? Oh.
I just had a comment to make. I can make comments and debate, can't I? I have before.
Yeah.
To the chair.
Well, okay, we'll allow it. Yeah, it's just that we had already.
The chief executive can make comments and debate. That's my role. I just had a very important comment to make about the master plan that I thought councillors should be aware of. That's all.
Yep. Heidi.
Kia ora, Eugene. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for coming along today. I think the master plan is great. I've been here for so long that I do remember 2 triennium ago, and there are 6 councillors around the table who were there also. Just after I started, one of my early papers that I brought up to council was a discussion about whether council saw any value in them retaining a property in Murupara on Meadow Drive. And during that meeting, council agreed to release the property and offered Ngāti Manawa a first right of refusal to purchase that property. And Ngāti Manawa took that up. I do remember the previous chief executive, Maramina, came in to talk to a vision that wasn't yet crafted, but actually where Meadow Drive would play a really important part in that vision. So I just wanted to highlight for councillors that actually I do notice that Meadow Drive does feature for Papakainga as a chapter in the document. I just wanted to acknowledge that and just bring that to councillors' attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other debate? Right. Oh, yes, Deputy Mayor Jukes.
I just wanted to say I'm very proud to be able to have seconded this motion. I think that it's just so wonderful to see this plan in place. And, you know, I really hope that most of what's there will actually be achieved. And thanks for that lovely tour of your rohi. And in my opinion, that while we didn't spend all of that 150 to develop the master plan, I think it was money very, very well spent. So congratulations. And I'll be supporting.
Councillor Dennis.
Thank you very much. I'm in favour of this. I think it's an awesome move forward for your community, and I want to congratulate you for leading your community through this. And if you take a look at the geopolitical scene at the moment, it's always interesting after a massive reshuffle of the world order, there are new opportunities come forward and refocus on what's more important or not. And I think that you might be in a prime position for that, having already done your plan. So well done, you. Thank you.
I put forward the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Anyone against? Too risky to do that. So, thank you. Well done. Thank you once again, Eugene, and yes, it's really exciting, and really look forward to seeing all the activity. It's going to benefit our whole rohe, our whole region, and I think as a tauira also for our other communities. So, mihi atu ki au koe.
Yes, kia ora, Councillor, and yes, certainly on behalf of Ngā Ti Manua, thank you for your decision and thank you for your support too. We really appreciate it. I am charged with updating my chair straight after this meeting, and I know that he'll be pleased as well. Kia ora.
Thank you, whānau. We'll be moving on to the approval of bylaws for public consultation report. And we will have Lainey, and Harvey. Just Harvey. Sorry. Okay, come on. Kia ora, Harvey.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Before I start, I just wanted to acknowledge that we do have some staff in the room that have been involved and worked on these bylaws, and they may come to answer any question. So the purpose of this paper is for this committee to approve the draft bylaw to go out for consultation. And so the purpose, yes, is to approve the draft bylaw to go out for consultation and also the statement of proposal, which highlights the key changes. We've got 6 bylaws: the alcohol control, ports and wharves, beaches bylaw, dog control, keeping of animal, and the stock movement bylaw. To get here today, the draft bylaws have been informed by some research, including some customer services request analysis. We've had 2 council briefings, and we've received some legal advice on those bylaws. To be clear, this is not about adopting the final bylaws today. That will be for the whole council to adopt the final bylaws. After consultation, there will be hearings and deliberation, and council will be able to make any change to these bylaws to reflect some of the feedback from the community. I'll give you an example with the alcohol control bylaw. We'll talk about it a bit later, but I think it might be helpful. So we are proposing a night ban to the draft bylaw for consultation for specified public places, and this is included in the draft bylaw. We are also intending to ask community feedback on a 24/7 ban in the Whakatane CBD, and this is not currently in the bylaw. But depending on the outcome of consultation in the hearings and deliberation, the draft bylaw could be changed, and we could include ban in the CBD or even elsewhere if needed. In terms of timeframes, we've got consultation, if everything goes well, scheduled in April for the whole month. On the 28th of May, we would have hearings and deliberation, and the approval would go to council on the 23rd of July. Given the size of the report and the volume of information, might be easier to go through each bylaw. And as I said at the beginning, we might have some staff that might join us. Is there any question, or otherwise happy to go through each individual bylaws?
So we're going to go through each bylaw and then ask questions regarding each of those ones, just so that we can get the information we need to make our decision. Does anyone have any questions regarding the alcohol bylaw? Sorry. Oh, do you have more comments, Harvey? Sorry.
No, I don't have more comments. I can quickly go through the key change proposed for each bylaw if you want.
Okay, then.
If that's
Sorry.
helpful.
Okay.
It's in the report, but I'll just read them and might be easier for people. So the first key change we are proposing for the alcohol control bylaw is to change the timing of the alcohol ban. Currently, it's a complex ban from 12 noon on Thursday to 3 a.m. on Monday in specific places, and we've been engaging with the police, and we think that a consistent night ban from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. every day would be better, so we are proposing to do that. We're also proposing to remove a seasonal alcohol ban, because we think it wouldn't be needed if we've got a night ban instead. We are following some guidance from briefings, done a bit of research, and we're including Waimana in the alcohol control areas to meet some of our community expectations. We're also adding some provision for the temporary alcohol ban, so it enables council to introduce alcohol-free zones for specific events. We've done some. We've updated our enforcement provision to enable the police to enforce better. And finally, we are making a change to the alcohol control map to include the Hope Beach Tavern car park as an area. That's following some feedback from the police.
Any questions? Yes, Councillor Dennis.
I'm a bit confused about 4.1.1, the first bullet point about changing the time of alcohol bans, which currently is 12 noon on Thursday to 3 a.m. on Monday. So you're proposing to change it so for a consistently nighttime ban of 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. What about the 12 noon to the 9 p.m? Are you just going to wipe that out? Or have I not read it properly?
I think what we found was it was really confusing, and the signage that we do have placed around, it just doesn't quite make any sense. 12 noon on Thursday to 3 a.m. on Monday. Yep. So it's a limited ban. So we've just decided to change it every day of the week from 9 to 7.
You haven't changed from every day of the week. What you've done is you've actually changed it from an afternoon, an evening one to a nighttime only. So why don't you do it 7 days a week from 12 noon to 7 a.m?
And that's what we're consulting on, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
The night ban will apply to every day.
Yeah, don't quite say that, but...
What page are you looking at, Kevin?
Page 80. Under the first bullet point under key change proposed to include. So, I apologise if I'm not reading it rightly, but it seems like you've actually totally changed things. So, I would have just gone 12 noon to 7 a.m. 7 days a week. Because my understanding is, if you just change it from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m, where's the restrictions and the ability for the police to control not the normal citizen that's drinking, but those that are actually out of control?
So the police control that at any time. It doesn't necessarily need to be between those hours. The police can control any sort of behaviour issues at any time.
But my understanding is they're the ones that would really like to do it 24/7 to give them bigger powers. Not that they will use it all the time, but it is there as a backup for when things go wrong. So I'm a bit confused, I don't understand it actually, why we're mucking around with it. It
Yes,
doesn't seem
councillor
clear.
Emick. Sorry.
It doesn't seem clear to me, it seems confusing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess it means that it can go out to consultation, but I do agree with councillor Dennis that it could be confusing on what we're actually asking out at consultation. Because you're now from 12 noon to 9 PM, there seems to be a gap. If there's unruly or disruptive behaviour, the police aren't powered to do anything during that period. And then that's further complicated by the alcohol 24/7 request and just the CBD. And I know that has come as a request from the police, but doesn't it contradict point one?
I won't completely answer the question, sorry, but I think what we found, and you can correct me if that's wrong, is that the issues that were alcohol-related are mostly around that night time. So therefore, that's a better fit now. And early afternoon, there was not any specific issue around that time.
Yes, councillor Hamill.
Thank you for this. It'll be really interesting to see what the community gives us feedback on. Just the 24/7 ban, is that something that other provincial towns have or major towns have, and how effective do we know that is?
I'm not entirely sure. I know there was a request we had, and some guidance we received in some council briefing, like to ask the community to introduce a 24/7 ban for the town to help the New Zealand Police again. I think it's the case in some other area like Rotorua, but yeah.
May I jump in here? If the council would like it, the team could prepare some more information to inform the deliberations after the community consultation on that matter.
That would be helpful.
Can we just clarify exactly what information you'd like? Is it around the efficacy of similar provisions in other councils?
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how other councils are, what is working for other councils, and whether this is too heavy-handed, or if it's been in place in other councils, whether it's been effective.
Okay, and just to clarify, when the team brings back their analysis after the community consultation, they usually will support that with the other analysis and research that they've found, so that council can be fully informed before finalising their decision.
Thank you. Mayor Nendall Tunches.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing this up. Am I right in thinking that we have an obligation to have the least restrictive bylaws possible to meet the objective? By which I mean we can't just do a blanket ban just because we want to. We actually have to have some evidence that it's going to achieve the aim that we're seeking to achieve.
You are mostly correct, actually. We checked that with when we got some legal advice, because we were unsure if it was disproportionate, like the sort of prohibition. It appears that for the specific alcohol control bylaw, you can have this measure to prevent any potential risks, and given some of the information we've received from police and mostly from police, it looks like it would be okay, and that would not be against what is it called? Got a blank. The legislation, basically.
Because I'm thinking the Bill of Rights must have some application, and local government does have to comply with the Bill of Rights in a way that central government doesn't.
That's right. So we've checked that when we were getting some legal advice. If we were deciding to go ahead for the whakatane ban, we could double check that it's still the case, but we are quite confident.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think if the police have, as you've said, the police have always got powers to deal with disruptive, unruly, antisocial behaviour through other means. So really it's a kind of preemptive measure, and if the evidence is that actually it's not a problem during the day, but it is a problem in the evening, then as someone who's a teetotaler, so I've got no skin in this at all, I do prefer to take the least restrictive position we can. I think it's the right approach. Yeah.
Thank you. We have Councillor Isles and Councillor... I'm just thinking that because we have another 6 bylaws to get through, that be the last questions, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Harvey, where did we land then with the opening hours of the off licence? Is that another bylaw that we have to look at, or has it been resolved?
I think you must be referring to the local alcohol policy, which is different from the alcohol control bylaw.
Right. Does that come up for, has that been resolved though, or is that something?
There will be a report coming through in public excluded for that one. I can't tell you right now which meeting because David Bewley's been leading that and he's not here today, but I do know that there's some work that's shortly going to be coming back to you on that.
Thank you.
Councillor James.
Yeah, I was just, well, the Mayor touched on it, but I was just going to reiterate or ask that the police have a lot of powers and that will override a bylaw anyway, won't they? We don't need a bylaw for the police to be able to enact powers with unruly people, do we, at any time? So we're only sort of protecting late at night. Yeah?
Yes, my understanding around the Whakatane CBD is that there were maybe some issue during the daytime for that specific area. And therefore, that's why we are checking with the community what their preference is. But also, yeah.
Thank you. I mean, today we really have the opportunity to allow and invite our community to be part of making a decision over these bylaws. We are not making a decision today. We're actually asking for our community to be part of making that decision, including our businesses, including our social services who may deal with some of the harms that happen with alcohol within our community. So I think that's the opportunity that we have today. Now, what I'm going to do in terms of our recommendations is that as we go through each bylaw, then I will be calling for a decision to pass each of those motions pertaining to that bylaw. So I call for a... Yes, I call, there is the first one, which I have to say, is that the approval of bylaws for public consultation report be received. So I need to usually call for a mover and seconder, so Councillor Hamill and Councillor James. I'll just read that again, that the approval of bylaws for public consultation be received, and for this particular bylaw, that the Strategy and Policy Committee approve for public consultation the draft alcohol control bylaw.
Happy to move.
Sorry, have I?
No. Should be the first one. Yeah, should be the first one.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. So it's just a question of clarification on the resolution decision we're making, because in the paper it talks about options 1 and 2 and 3, which is to approve, so one of them is to approve the bylaw for consultation and request additional feedback on a 24/7 ban in the CBD, and one of them doesn't include that additional matter, and
Okay,
so I'm not clear.
You want amendment to the...
It just should say option 1 if that's the option we're going for.
Yeah, so yeah, I'd like to see it clarified what option we're talking about here.
Which one is it?
Referring to Resolution 2.
Resolution 2, that's not what I have here. Is that?
Oh, no.
Sorry, one moment.
Not meaning to be difficult.
Perhaps we can first of all vote on Resolution 1 to receive the report, and then we can move to putting the motion resolution 2, and then in debate, we can agree which of the options council would like to go out for consultation with.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yep, so first of all, I think we need to vote on resolution 1
Receive the report.
to receive the report.
Yep.
And then my suggestion is we put the motion for resolution 2 and then debate for that, agree which option, and if necessary, amend the resolution slightly subject to whichever of the options is chosen.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
So you've got a mover and a seconder for resolution 1.
So I have a mover and seconder for resolution 1, which is that the approval of the bylaws for public consultation report be received. All those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, the second one?
Yeah, we need to call for a mover and a seconder.
I call for a mover and seconder for the second resolution.
Happy to move.
Councillor Iles, Mayor Nandel, that the Strategy and Policy Committee approve for consultation the draft alcohol control bylaw and debate regarding the options. Open for debate. Questions and clarifications, sorry. Oh, we've done that. We're open for debate. Aroha mai whānau.
I'm going to support option 1, the recommended option, and I won't waste our time listing. The advantages are all there with the disadvantages, so I'm supporting option 1 and happy to move the recommendation includes option 1 at an appropriate time.
Yes.
So to be clear, what Councillor or Deputy Mayor Jukes is saying is that we approve the draft alcohol control bylaw for consultation and request additional community feedback on a 24/7 ban in the Whakatane CBD.
Yes.
Which I support.
Councillor Iles?
Support.
Thank you.
From 1, yep.
Amick?
Thank you. And I think what I heard the Mayor say is that it was supporting 4.1.1 and 4.1.2 as an additional question on the consultation. Is that correct? About the 24/7 ban?
Yes, additional question on the
That's
consultation.
what I'm supporting, yep.
I'm supportive of that, of going with the option 1.
Option 1.
I'd like to hear more community feedback on that.
Option 1. Councillor Dennis? Councillor Whittaker? Excuse me, Mark. You're fine? Okay. Okay.
Therefore, happy to move that option 1 be included in the recommendation.
Do I need a seconder?
Yes.
Can I have a...
I mean, we just adopt that as our resolution, so it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to read that out.
Susan can read the new resolution.
So the recommendation is that the Strategy and Policy Committee approve for public consultation the draft alcohol bylaw, and within the inclusion of requesting additional feedback on the 24/7 ban in the Whakatane CBD as option 1.
All those in favour? Thank you. So we'll move on to the next one. Please, Harvey.
Yes, I might ask Mark Reid to join us at the table if there's any question. So I'll just go through the report and mention the key changes for this bylaw. So the first one is removing the swimming provision from the bylaw to align with the MOU between Whakatane District Council and the Regional Council. We also are adding a reference to a section in the Local Government Act to allow council to seize or impound vessels that are breaching the bylaw. We are including a process to obtain written permission for certain activities that are relating to the use of the port and the wharf structures. We are updating the rules regarding the refueling restrictions, fishing behavior and waste disposal, berthage license and license revocation. We are introducing fees for parking, casual berthing and overstaying on ports and structures that would be listed in the fees and charges schedule. And we are including some rules around issuing notices to specifically mention what the notice must include and what is the nature of the breach and the time frame to remedy the breach. I'm happy to answer any question.
Yes, Councillor Amnick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Morning, Mark and Harvey. Just in terms of the one that has seizure powers, so the harbour master is employed by a regional council, not district council, is that correct?
Correct.
So this is giving additional powers to whom from Whakatane District Council?
So we're just working through that process now, and it's a little bit of a truncated sort of explanation, but we used to refer to the harbour superintendent, and I don't know if you've come across that term, but it was an old term that was used to cover the dual role of, say, the manager ports and the harbour master. Since the council has become the authority that looks after the ports as we have now, we're just working through the process of separating that title out to be the manager of ports or authorised officer. So, and that's in a line with with our licences to occupy as well. So it's a lot more clearer. So the authorised officer can be anyone within our team. It could be anyone that's delegated by the CE basically, or it can be a third party. So it can be a security company, for example, if they're delegated to carry out those actions.
Thank you. Just a supplementary, if I may. So that, I see we're doing this in parallel with the Ports and Operational Plan. So is that something new that would be added into there, or there was already some reference to it?
No, curiously, the Ports Operational Plan, and I would stand corrected on this because I can't remember it word for word, but I don't think it refers a lot to the harbour superintendent. The old licences to occupy do. Mm-hmm. So, they will be, those three documents will be aligned. Okay. So those roles and responsibilities are clearly defined.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Councillor James.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mark. But can you just clarify, is there still going to be a harbour superintendent employed by regional council, or we're going to be in control of the whole thing, just our district council?
No, well, the harbour superintendent hasn't existed for quite some time, so you'll probably remember that, as I just said, it used to be the same role, and since we've separated those roles out, so we basically would have the harbour master or the harbour master's team, so that includes the local maritime officer, and then you'll have the ports operational team, which includes the manager of ports or the authorised officer, which is a delegate of that position.
So that's all within our team, that's got nothing to do with the regional council now, correct?
Yeah, correct, other than the office of the harbour master. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Mayor Nandor.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have an issue with abandoned boats in our waterways at all? I say this because I was kayaking on the harbour and there's some boats that look pretty, like they haven't been seen to for quite a long period of time. Is it an issue? And if it is, I don't think I saw anything about it in here. Do we have powers that we need to deal with it?
We don't have powers over moorings, which I think is what you're referring to. That sits with
So that
Regional Council or the Harbour Master. We do have an issue with an abandoned boat on one of our structures at the moment, and we have had that for some time. And that is not just that one case, but that's an example of why we're trying to tighten up some of the abilities to be able to remove vessels. So our licences to occupy say that, for example, if you are behaving poorly on a berth or you don't pay your berthing fee, we have the ability to remove that vessel. But we don't have that ability to remove that vessel if they don't have a berth licence, which is, so we're trying to change that to cover that. So it's a little bit of a glitch in a little bit of a hole in the system that we're trying to sort of plug. Yeah.
No further questions? I call for a mover and seconder, Mayor Nandor and Councillor James. I read the motion, don't I? That the Strategy Policy Committee approve for public consultation the draft Ports and Wharves bylaw. Debate? There are two options. One is to approve it, the other one is to not approve it. So I've just read it in the one recommendation. Any debate? All those in favour? Thank you. Now, I'm choosing for us to go through one more bylaw and then we will break for morning tea because we still have the others to go through. We might end up pushing out our lunch a bit more. Is everyone okay with that? Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Harvey.
Thanks. We'll now move to the beaches bylaw. I might get Ian Maloney to join me at the table. Essentially, we are not proposing major changes to this bylaw. It's working quite well as it is, but we've got a few changes that I'll mention. We are including the amphibious vessels in the bylaw so that the same rule applies to other vehicles, so to reduce the damage on our beaches and on our dunes. The fire provisions were ambiguous, so we'll reword them to clarify the requirements and to reference the fire control legislation. And also, following legal advice, we've added a license section in the bylaw to set out the application requirements for any permissions required from the council. So, for example, if you want to organise a wedding on the beach, you need permission from council, and so that section helps clarifying what's required. That's it in terms of changes. Happy to take any question.
Do you have any questions? Yes, Councillor Dennis.
On page 84, first bullet point in 4.10.1, restricting dogs to be on lead at 4 new sites with protection of nesting birds at Haini Stream, Pikawai Stream, Herapuri Stream and Mimiha Stream. Does it need to be more descriptive as to whereabouts on those streams?
Sorry, just checking. Councillor Dennis, which partai that was for?
Sorry,
is that for the beaches?
I think you are referring to a new provision in the dog policy.
Okay. My apologies, I've done it again.
That's okay.
Actually, no. No. So I'm on page 84. Is this part of the policy we're discussing? Dog control?
No. Beach.
Sorry.
You're always far ahead of us, Councillor Dennis, so thank you for being so thorough. Are there any other questions? Councillor Whittaker, do you have any questions?
I don't have a question about the recommendations here, but I just want a bit of clarification. And in one of our bylaws, it says quad bikes must be registered and warranted. Now, how do you notify the people that own these quad bikes, come over to, say, Ohopi, that that's what is part of a bylaw?
Thanks, Councillor. Unfortunately, we can't notify people if we don't know where they reside and we can't identify the vehicle. The beach is classified as a road, and as such, the police do have powers to actually, to monitor the beach as well and follow up on those sorts of things.
Because it just seems to me, if you make a bylaw, then somehow you've got to enforce it. Otherwise, why make it, And just another question that I have is I noticed that quad bikes are allowed to travel from Murupara Stream down to the Spit, but they're not allowed to travel from Murupara to West End. So why is there a difference in that?
The reason for that is that between Murupara and West End, it's a high use area. It's a lot more public utilise that area than they do the remainder of the beach.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Ranui, do you have any thoughts? Keith Pine? Okay, thank you. Councillor Isles calling for as mover, then seconder? No.
Can I please have a question,
Okay.
clarification?
Okay.
If you go into the actual bylaw on 4.0, I hope I'm on the right one. Yep. It talks about not being allowed to, under 4.0 on page 5 of that bylaw, it talks about you're not allowed to scale, clean or gut any fish or deposit any fish. Am I on the right one?
Yes.
Yeah.
161, I think. Page 161.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Oh, it's very similar to Councillor Whittaker's question is, I remember back in the day before O'Brien was elected onto council, he did a submission here. Could we please have signs up at different areas asking, saying to people they're not allowed to gut their fish and not allowed to chuck the fish bones back in the water and all that. And I noticed our way, we still don't have any signs. So why are we doing bylaws when we're not even prepared to put signs up saying no leaving fish carcasses or scales or anything like that behind?
I think, Councillor, we can't put signs up for everything that's in the bylaw. There are a lot of provisions in the bylaw areas within the bylaw where we actually prohibit certain activities on the beach. And it's just the main ones which we do highlight at certain areas, access points to the beach.
Okay.
Yes.
Through the chair, another thing that we could add into the report, Harvey's thinking, God, what's she going to say now, is we could actually just, when we bring you the analysis from both the community consultation but also the research that the team have done, we could make some suggestions around enhancements to the enforcement provisions or the communications that can be made, what's reasonable, what's realistic and what's actually worth doing. So if that's of interest, we can take that instruction with us today.
Thank you. Now yes, Councillor, Mayor Nandor.
Thank you. Well, just in response to that, it seems to me that the bylaw says, not to deposit any bits of fish in a way that's going to cause a nuisance, injury or danger to public health and safety. And I shouldn't think you need a sign to tell people to do that. This is just giving us the enforcement power that if people are being idiots, there's some way we can hold them to account.
Yes, Councillor.
Actually, just a comment about that is that I think they do need a sign actually, because down at the fishing boat ramp, people will put in, whether it's commercial fishermen or recreational fishermen, will use the rubbish bins that are provided to put their waste from their boats there. And I think that at the boat ramp, I think in Whakatane, there is a sign that says no deal on the fish. And I think there is at Port Hope, there is out at the Freedom Camping area, I think that has similar signage. Yeah.
Correct, councillor. That's managed by Ports and Wharves. Yeah.
Thank you. So we have a mover with Councillor Isles calling for second, and with Councillor Whittaker seconder, that the Strategy and Policy Committee approve for public consultation the draft beaches bylaw. Any debate? All those in favour? Kia ora. So we're going to break now for morning tea, and then we'll get back into the rest of it. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, our break is for... We'll come back at 25 to 11. Thank you.
Whānau, welcome to our hui. And we were moving on to the next bylaw, which is to do discussion, which is to do with the dog control by. So I'll hand that over to Harvey. Thank you again.
Are they working?
Are the microphones working? No, they're not.
Can you hear me? Oh.
Hello.
So the next item is actually the dog control policy and the dog control bylaw, and they go together, they are complementary. The dog control policy sets out the overall approach for managing dogs, including where they are allowed and not allowed, what the objectives are. And the dog control bylaw contains the legal rules that people must follow. There are usually good practices to review them at the same time. We are proposing some minor change to the dog control policy and the dog control bylaw, although we've reviewed the layout. So one of the changes we are proposing is to restrict dogs to be on lead in 4 new sites for the protection of nesting birds. We've got 4 streams identified, Ohone stream, Pikowai stream, Ereperu, and Mimia stream. Second thing we are doing is updating the offence and fee section of the bylaw. It's mostly to align better with the Dog Control Act and understand what's council can change and not change because it's regulated by the Act. And one key element, I think, and maybe the most important one, is we've done a lot of work with the GIS team to improve the dog control maps to inform dog owners where they can take their dog, where they can't. We had some feedback in the past where there were suggestions that the maps were hard to understand and not clear, so we've done our best to improve that. There was a consideration of introducing an urban limit to 2 dogs on urban residential property. We've done some more research internally, and it appeared that it was it was going to be administratively challenging to manage. So we have removed that out of the bylaw. So these are the key changes I've mentioned to the bylaw. In addition to that, there's the options to ask additional community feedback around whether we want to allow dogs in the Whakatane CBD, and another question around having dog being on lead at Ope during the summer season, and it's not the all Ope, it's certain areas from West End Ope to the Whakatane Surf Club, and also the stretch next to the Hope Beach Top 10 Holiday Park. I'll stop here, and I'm happy to take any question.
It's all yours, Councillor Dennis.
I think I'm on the right report. In regard to your restricted areas for the nesting birds at Haone, Pikowai, Heraplu Stream and Mimiha Stream, could we be a bit more, like I believe in what you're saying, but could we be a bit more restrictive? Is that the whole of Pikowai Stream, or is that just on the beach, or is that just on the beach side of State Highway 2? Because if we pass this, then the farmers way up Pikowai Stream won't be able to let their dogs drink from the stream.
I think for the most part, it's basically just to protect the nesting birds, and they predominantly nest in the sand dunes, between the sand dunes and where the streams meet. So that's...
So could we change this to restricting dogs, et cetera, below the State Highway 2 or the beach side of State Highway 2?
To make the wording more specific?
Yeah,
Sure.
just be a bit, it's just the descriptive part of it.
Yes.
Otherwise it's a bit weird.
We can do that.
it might be something that we may do after consultation, unless it's something that everyone agrees that needs to be happening now. It might be a bit quite tight in terms of time frame, so I suggest we pick it up after consultation, if that's okay.
I'm okay as long as we do it.
Yes, Councillor Mick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi again. Hi, Mike and Nancy. This is not actually a question, but just something to look at updating is that if you ring the police or emergency services and say Matatua Reserve, they can't identify it. Because it's not, we colloquially talk about it as Matatua Reserve, but it's actually got another name. I can't remember at the top of my head. Just a note to follow up with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Hamill.
I've got a couple of questions. Morning, everyone. I just wanted to see if we could add, if it's too late or if there is something in the bylaw that I've missed. I'm looking at section 10, dogs in or on vehicles. And in other dog control bylaws from other councils, they are quite specific about dogs being not just being restrained and safe, but not being stuck in cars and overheating and having, which is a big issue for us. So can we add a clause or a provision for enforcement of dogs who have been stuck in cars and displaying heat avoidant behaviour, or add something to that effect, or is it too late?
Mike might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the purpose of the Act is to protect health and safety in the community, and the animal welfare component is not regulated by the bylaw itself. So I think it's not a bylaw. I totally understand what you mean in the concern, but I'm not sure that it needs to be picked up by the bylaw.
My understanding is, yes, the SPCA cover that, and it's also in the Dog Act, and the Animal Welfare Act covers that aspect of care and neglect for your dog, i.e. leaving them in the cars and stuff like that. I think there's specific powers in there, in legislation already.
Okay. That's interesting because the Far North District Council has a specific clause about that in their dog control bylaw. So maybe we could follow that up because it is quite putative.
Definitely, yep.
I mean, we're at the stage now where this is about putting it out to public consultation, the work, and as we've heard with the other bylaws, the team will bring back other research for the pārtai that we've had, and so I'd like to hope that what you've put forward is considered as well. Yes, Mayor Nandor.
I think it's just a supplementary on that because I was going to but we do have provisions around dog accommodation, and we've got things around dogs must be properly exercised when we're talking about dogs in heat and stuff. So we do have some animal welfare things in there. It's just making that comment.
We'll look into it. Thank you.
A supplementary, which is possibly not related, but it is related, but not specific to the bylaw, which is that perhaps as a council we could consider, much as the Far North District Council has done after their most severe dog attack recently, strongly requested central government to amend or to improve the legislation from 1996, which is really outdated and not based on good evidence. So is it something that as a council we could think about liaising with Dana Kirkpatrick or making a submission or even open letter just to, because what happened in the Far North could happen here, and it's quite relevant and quite pertinent at the moment.
Thank you. It's a very good point. We've actually received some letter from our minister last week or so, and essentially it was recognizing, the central government was recognizing that the Dog Control Act is now outdated and not longer fit for purpose. So they've indicated that they will do a comprehensive review of the Act, which will include a consultation with stakeholders. In the meantime, while Council must meet its existing legislative requirements. under the Act.
May I just, through the chair, just add, I believe, and I might be wrong, the Far North District policy and bylaw is a dog management policy and bylaw, which is quite different from dog control. It probably has more expansive sections around how dogs are managed and provided for and so on. I may well be wrong, but we can certainly look at that. I think there'll be an issue with resourcing if we enter into this space too much more than we have been. And I think it's probably a question around the role of council in all of that landscape, but we can certainly look at it.
Thank you. Yes, Malcolm. Sorry.
I have a sort of I suppose a little bit of a concern, and I think it's around the dogs, control of dogs, and I understand our law is that dogs have to be under control by their owners when on the beach, and quite a lot of dog owners have dogs, large dogs, that will run along the beach and chase the gulls. And I've just realised over the last couple of years why you start to see gulls that have their legs displaced. And I think it's possibly because they've got to run quickly from these dogs. And especially you get down by Murupara, where we've got a lot of terns there, and red-leg gulls, they seem to be the ones that are affected. So is there any way we can sort of notify the public about that, or is that just too difficult?
Dogs and seagulls and eggs.
I guess
quite often.
You've stumped me. It does come back to the keeping your dog under control and preventing them from rushing other animals or birds. So it's part of your, as an owner, it's your responsibility to keep your dog under control. So it definitely covers that type of thing. I don't know whether Forest and Bird could put some comms out about that kind of thing. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean, it's just my observation, basically, and I walk on the beach every day, sometimes twice a day. So, you know, over the years, this is what I've noticed. And, you know, it's what people do. They let their big dogs run along and chase the birds. They think it's fun. And it does look like fun, but that's one of the repercussions, I'm sure, that occurs from that, you know.
One of the elements, I guess, is that the beach is classified as a dog exercise area, so they are allowed to go without being on lead. If you were to agree on certain area where you don't want them, you want them on lead, like the example of the 4 streams before, then that should be something to be considered. But as it stands, yeah, it's a dog exercise area.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just want to acknowledge too the feedback that's been provided by Councillor Hamill and your expertise as a veterinarian, and also the opportunity possibly for the council to have input into the consultation regarding the review of the current legislation regarding dogs. I'm not sure if that's something that may be an opportunity for us as a council to have a say on. So I'm going to call for a mover and seconder of this resolution. However, I will read the resolution and also then the options that are available, and would like to ask the councillors during debate that they identify the option that they are supporting. And then whoever is the mover and seconder, I will ask them to amend for whatever option we end up with. So I call for a mover and seconder for Councillor James and Councillor Ranui, that the Strategy Policy Committee approve for public consultation the draft dog control bylaw and dog control policy, And the options are, option 1, approve the draft dog control policy and dog control bylaw for consultation and request additional community feedback on dog restrictions in the Whakatane CBD and on Ohope Beach. The second option, approve the draft dog control policy and dog control bylaw for consultation and do not request additional community feedback on dog restrictions in Whakatane CBD and on Ohope Beach. Option 3, do not approve the dog control policy and dog control bylaw for consultation. Any debate? Well, there should be. I'm asking for you too. Thank you. Councillor Isles is option 1.
Yeah, happy to support option 1 and look forward to the community feedback about the restrictions on Ohope Beach. Yeah.
Thank you, option 1. Councillor Jacks.
I will support option 1 because I think it's timely that we did get community feedback on those options. So,
thank you.
I agree with, I support option 1 as well, looking forward to community response.
Yes.
Option 1.
Councillor Dennis, option 1. Councillor Ranui.
Option 1.
Option 1. Option 1. Councillor James.
The option, we're only asking for consultation.
Yes, yeah. And Mayor Nando. That's it. Okay. So do I need to amend that? I'll just check with the mover and seconder that they're all right, that we amend have the resolution to identify option 1 as the motion. Yes. Yep. Okay, that's fine. Do I need to read the option 1 out? Okay. So the option 1 is to approve the draft dog control policy and dog control bylaw for consultation and request additional community feedback on the dog restrictions in the Whakatane CBD and on Ohope Beach. All those in favour? No. Thank you. Oh, all those against? Kia ora. Carried. Next, we'll move on to the next bylaw. To do with the draft keeping of animal stock, flock and bees. Is that right?
That's correct. So just to clarify, this bylaw is excluding dogs. The purpose of the bylaw is to regulate how animals are controlled and kept, ensuring that animals don't become a nuisance to people in the community, and for the protection of public health and safety. We have made a series of what I would qualify as small changes. One key thing is, and we'll talk about it later, is we are removing some of the provision around the stock movement, as we are proposing to create a dedicated stock movement bylaw following some legal advice. We've added a general requirement section that sets out common conditions for the keeping of animals, poultry and bees, to ensure they do not cause a nuisance and they don't roam or obstruct access way. Improving clarity for keeping bees without creating nuisance, and updated the rule for stocks in urban areas. And introducing a permit process for parameters relating to the keeping of animals, such as the number of animals and where they are kept. Set out what will occur if the permits needs to be revoked or suspended. We are enabling the council to seize wandering or trespassing stock under the Impounding Act. If any animal is in breach of this bylaw, and we are clarifying the rules around the notices to specify what the notice must include, such as the nature of the breach and the time frame to remedy the breach. So these are the proposed changes. In addition to that, this committee today will have to make a decision to go to consultation regarding the distance of poultry houses from the buildings. So we've currently have a rule, which I will read: no poultry house or poultry run shall be erected or maintained so that any part of it is within 2 meters of any dwelling, factory, or any building. And so we received some feedback during the briefing to maybe consider increasing the distance to 5 meters. So we've done some further research, which is analysed which highlighting the advantages and disadvantages of each option. And it's for council, I guess, to decide, not council, this committee to decide which option they want to go for. I'm going to leave it there and ask if there's any question.
Yes, Councillor Dennis, then Councillor James and Councillor Whittaker. Thank you.
I would personally like to go with the option 2. I've suffered in the past from having someone who moved next to me and planted their chooks right onto the boundary. My house was, I think, 4 metres away, and I was a shift worker, and those chooks wake me up all the time. They're very loud chooks, and back in those days, I think the rule was 2 metres from the fence and 5 metres from a house. Now, I think that the increasing amount of chooks being run in urban areas, I think that there is a certain noise issue. Now, I don't mind the people who live 2 houses away from me and I can hear their chooks on a clear day with my windows. But at night with the or during the day with the windows shut, to be woken up constantly by chooks, I think that 2 metre rule, as suggested, is nonsense.
Do you have a question?
And so it's a public that. So my question is, how hard would it be to enforce that? Because I see in there you're saying it'd be too hard to enforce, but we've enforced it in the past. So why have we now got in there that it could be too hard to enforce a 5 metre rule?
I think probably the problem with having the 5 metre rules, not a lot of people have that sort of space residentially in their backyards. The likes of a Potiki, I think they have a bigger range as well. They might have the 5 metre range, but a lot of the backyards in a Potiki are quite a bit bigger than they are here in Whakatane. So we found that we can enforce any space, whether it's 2 metres, 5 metres or 10 metres, we can enforce any sort of nuisance.
But back in the day when I put in a complaint, their thing was, if you want to run that many chooks that close, you need to have bought out of town, not in town. So for people to buy in town on a very small section and then believe they have the right to annoy all their neighbours, I don't think that's correct. So I can't understand why you're saying it's up to the people who buy because that's what you're saying, that if people buy a small section, they have the right to put chooks on.
Councillor Dennis, do you have a question or supplementary question? If we can
I'm asking for
Thank you.
Nancy's view on that.
My view is simply, if we do 2 metres, it allows more people to have chickens in their backyards for eggs. I'm assuming that's why most people have hens in their backyards. Roosters are prohibited, which decreases that noise, those noise levels. And if somebody was to complain, we can certainly go and rectify the situation.
Thank you. Councillor James.
Yeah, my question is, do we still have stock corridors through our towns? And like about 40 years ago, and that you could run them around Arrow Road, you could run a herd of cows through the middle of Edgecombe.
You're showing your age.
Are those corridors still there? There's a lot of farmers still believe that they are.
Is that for the stock bylaw?
We're doing livestock.
No, we're doing we're on to the chooks. If
All
that's
right.
okay.
When we come to livestock, I'm going to ask that question. We're ready to answer.
Okay, order. We'll carry on and we'll reserve that question for the next bylaw. Thank you, Councillor James and Councillor Whittaker.
Thank you. my query's around 4.1.4 and the bullet point 2, and it relates to, you've got bees, poultry and bees, then you've got do not roam or obstruct. Well, I've been a beekeeper, and bees have a radius of about 2 miles, and I think it would be very difficult to try and stop them from roaming. So whether or not you take the bees out and just leave it in the next bullet point.
Register each bee.
Do you have a question, Councillor Whittaker? No other further questions? Thank you. I'll call for a seconder. Now, I'll try and keep this more tidy. Thank you, mover, Councillor Imick, and a seconder, Councillor Whittaker, that, oh my gosh, here we go. Keeping it. That the Strategy and Policy Committee either approve for consultation the draft keeping of animal stock, flock and bees, brackets excluding dogs, bylaw, or approve for public consultation the draft keeping of animal stock, flock and bees, excluding dogs, bylaw, with an amendment to the poultry keeping section of the bylaw that increases the distance of the poultry house or poultry run from 2 metres to 5 metres from any dwelling or any other building, or do not approve the public consultation for draft keeping of animal stock, flock and bees, excluding dogs, bylaw. I'll open for debate, and if you could identify the option that you support. Mayor Dukes.
Thank you. I'm actually going to support Councillor Dennis with option 2. I actually think that, I'm just not sure that it would be appropriate to have chickens within 2 metres. If there's not enough area for it to be 5 metres, then I'm not sure that it would be appropriate that you should be actually having chickens within 2 metres. I do actually stay in weekends to a house that does actually have chickens, and even 10 metres away you could still hear the chickens. Fortunately the house is even further than that, so it doesn't affect us in the house, but even 5 metres you're still going to hear the chickens, so I'm going to support option 2.
Mayor Nandor.
Thank you. Well, I support option 1. I think that in these times, encouraging people to keep chickens to be more self-sufficient in food, I think is something we should be encouraging, not inhibiting. And I think within the human environment, for increasing it's going to be difficult to get 5 metres from a boundary to keep chickens. So, yeah, option 1 for me.
Councillor Hamill.
I'm going to support option 1. I agree that we need to support people to keep poultry if they can for food sustainability and just making sure we're using our land wisely. I think I'm satisfied from staff that if they are a nuisance, that there is provision to attend to that.
Councillor Dennis.
So I'll be going for option 2. I only think it's people who've lived next to noisy chooks really understand the issue. And I'm not anti-chook. I mean, I'd like to have chooks myself, but if you're going to agree with this, then you can say, well, we might as well have them in apartment blocks and do all sorts of stuff. Chooks are very noisy, and I think that we should be considerate to everyone, and if you want to have chooks, you need to go and buy a property that allows chooks for size, so I'm going option 2.
Councillor Ranui.
I'm going with option 1.
Any other comments? Ken.
Only because of where we are at the moment, you know, and some sections you don't have the space, but you know people do need eggs, or you know. Just just my perspective. It doesn't bother me because I live on lifestyle, but I don't really mind because my chicken's only about 15 metres away, and yeah,
Thank you.
the noise doesn't bother me.
Thank you. Councillor Whittaker. Option 1. Councillor Isles.
A very definite option 1, as outlined by the Mayor. We should be encouraged to be keeping hens to get rid of our household waste. And of course, the added bonus is you're getting the eggs. I mean, where do we start and where do we stop in this one? If you've got a bird aviary, you're going to hear birds. I mean, you hear birds in the trees, let alone birds in an aviary. So, you know, I think we're getting a little bit petty.
Thank you. Councillor James.
Option 2, because fine in rural towns with option 1, but with option 2, so what's the difference between someone keeping a pig in their backyard and rearing that for the deep freeze? What's the difference?
Okay. Thank you, Councillor James. You seem to be hurting Councillor Isles, but he might survive this debate.
I don't know if I'm the counterbalance or not, but I actually don't mind option 1 or 2. Happy to let the people decide.
She's in the middle.
I think dogs barking poses way more problems than chickens in urban areas.
I've just been reminded I also have a vote as well. I will be supporting option 1. I do know of whānau who live in town who have chooks, and they're very considerate, and I think it would be very difficult for them to be able to have those chooks if it was 5 metres away. The thing is that moving them further away from the house, they're still going to make noise, I guess, but they, particularly as highlighted by Mayor Nandor, under the current global situation, there is a shift for people to be able to be more sustainable, whether it's looking at gardening again, whether it's being able to have some kind of food sovereignty, and us being able to allow that to happen. We heard that from Ngāti Manua about how communities themselves can be self-sustaining. So if we have whānau in town who want to be able to create that at home, I'm supportive of option 1. Oh.
Can I just ask, are you just defining a hen or a rooster as part of it? Because would you like to have a rooster next door?
No. It says that there's no roosters. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
What was it?
Could you repeat that?
Okay. So I guess I'll say hey hey, as in hey hey. We seem to have a clear numbers to support option 1. So I would like to ask the mover and the seconder if they would like to support amendment to the motion to include option 1. Who was the seconder? Oh, I thought I called for mover and seconder. Oh, so the recommendation is as it is, which was to approve to go to consultation. All those in favour? Or any against? Would you like that recorded? No. And Councillor James would like that recorded. Deputy Mayor does not want hers recorded. Thank you, Fan. Sorry? Yeah, Deputy Mayor doesn't want hers recorded. Thank you for that. And
thank you.
Now, Councillor James, we're moving on to the stock. So we're moving on to the stock bylaw.
Thank you. So we've got Anne Elise Reynolds, Manager Transportation, and Chris King Hazel, Team Leader, joining us. So the Stock movement bylaw is a new bylaw that we are proposing to introduce to address customer services requests relating to requests for a stock crossing permit system and some complaints relating to damage to the road and concerns around public safety. We are introducing with this bylaw some key provisions. I might just let Anne-Elise Reynolds going through them.
Morning, everyone. The key provisions is just making it clear what types of movements are permitted, so there's no further permit process required, but it sets out what the sort of requirements are for those permitted movements to help keep both the stock movers and all other road users safe during that operation. At what point a permit is required so that we can have those discussions with the stock movers and make sure that the way they plan to carry out their activity is going to be safe and in the best interests of the road users and the stock. And then a couple of ones that are generally prohibited, but again, through the permit process, if there's a reason for those movements to occur, we can set appropriate conditions to make sure that they can happen safely. And one of those prohibited movements is stock movements through urban areas. So there currently aren't permitted corridors that stock could use, but if we had a situation where a stock mover needed to move through an urban area, we would manage that through the permit process and would identify what the most suitable route is and how they'd go about that. So that would be the way that they'd manage that situation. So I think that, and there's also just a few things around, setting up what some of those requirements are around safety, visibility, and use of pilot vehicles. Also some information around provision of underpasses and really high frequency, locations with high frequency stock movements, and also information around where NZTA co-funding can be applicable in some of those situations. So I'm happy to take any questions or clarifications.
Questions, thank you. Councillor Isles.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess the devil will be in the detail. I see there where you haven't stated, or it doesn't, the movement is controlled, prohibited or permitted. Have you removed the hours after hours of darkness? Or?
Through the chair, the hours of darkness is still under the prohibited movements, but as I say, a permit can be issued from a council officer that would allow a variation from what those prohibited movements are. So if there was a need for those stock to move in the hours of darkness and we could be satisfied that the movement could happen safely for everyone involved, then a permit could be issued with appropriate conditions to allow that to happen.
But then again, you see in winter or springtime, the cocky could well be moving the cows in hours of darkness, but come into summer and it doesn't apply. So you are putting that level of responsibility on them. Okay. I don't support it.
Any other questions? Councillor Whittaker.
Thank you. I have one, and it's 4.17 bullet point 3. Talks about introducing road cleaning requirements. I mean, is that very practical or pragmatic, or is it just...
So the way it's worded in the bylaw is around excessive excrement and excessive material left on the road, and I think that is very practical in the case of instances where we have had excessive material on the road. That can be quite a danger to road users as it becomes slippery. It also can quite majorly damage the road pavement underneath, which leads to expensive repairs. So it's around just making sure that those movements can be done to reduce that sort of effects on the road. So again, keep road users safe and to keep the road maintainable in a cost-effective manner. There's a multitude of ways that material can be mitigated from being left on the road surface. It doesn't necessarily involve cleaning. It can be ways to stop the material migrating onto the road surface in the first place, through the way that the surfaces leading onto the road are provided, whether they're, if they're currently really muddy, there could be drainage improvements that could be done, there could be different materials that could be applied so that it's a more solid base and less of that material is dragged out on the road. So again, these are the kind of conversations that we'd have with farmers and stock movers in these situations, so that we can help make sure their businesses and livelihoods can continue, but not at the detriment of road users or ratepayers that have to pay for the cost of the road.
Okay, thank you.
No further questions? Yes.
Thank you. Just one on terms of the permit requirements. The information around vehicles per day on roads, is that readily available public information?
It can be publicly available through a number of websites, so we'll probably look through the, when we get to publicising this bylaw, how we can make that information readily available, and as well, anyone that can't locate that information themselves, they can contact the team at any time to access it.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Emily? Do I have debate? Sorry. Yes. So that the Strategy and Policy Committee approve for public consultation the draft stock movement bylaw. Any debate?
Can someone direct me to what page the options are on? Because I'm finding it quite hard to move backwards and forwards between these different pages. 89, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's just...
It's just the either or option, so either we support to approve it or we don't. Any debate? Yes, Mayor Nandel.
Oh, thank you. I'll just make a quick contribution because there was a couple of items that were raised. One was around the movements at night, and it seems to me that's just a pure scheduling thing. I can't see why it's difficult to determine to organise yourself so that you move your stock at night. It's not unless it's an urgent thing, and there's provision in the bylaw for urgent movements. So I think that's quite straightforward. And in terms of the material deposit on the road, I think people who are moving stock do have an obligation to not make the road unsafe for other road users, and I think it is up to them to resolve, because while I know my colleague said they're ratepayers as well, and that's true, but also we're talking about a private use of a public road, and therefore I think it's for the private operator to deal with that if it's excessive material, which is what we're talking about. We're not talking about a little bit of small bits and pieces. So I think the provisions in here are really good. I support the idea of having a separate bylaw that specifies it so it's easy to find for people. So I support.
Thank you. Any further debate? Councillor Isles.
I think, as I've already indicated, I won't be supporting this. I think, again, we're just going out to try and really complicate a farmer's life. If you've got a property that is dissected by a main road, and even more importantly, if that property is further dissected by a one-way bridge, you've got no options of putting in an underpass. You have still got, and herds these days are in the vicinities of anywhere from 200 up to about 500 plus. You've got a lot of movements going across that road to try and then to have to be responsible for removing the effluent. You know, it's just, you're just putting another obstacle in their way. I'm not supporting it.
Thank you. This is, just to clarify, this is for it to go out to public consultation.
Correct.
So
Yes.
those farmers and those in our rural communities have the ability to have their say
Correct.
Councillor James.
Yeah, I am supporting of option one. And I'm a farmer who has had a dairy farm on both sides of the road. Used to say to people I couldn't understand why they were driving through the middle of my farm when they complained about the road. But the fact is, a farmer can manage when they need to use the road. There's no need for stock to be on the road in the hours of darkness. That can be managed. And I go back to probably 30 years or more when there was a fatality, I think it was up Ruatoki, where farmer was crossing the road with his cows up past 4 in the morning, pitch black, and someone ran into him, and it's not the motorist's fault. So yeah, I'm in favour of option one.
So I'll call for all those in favour. Any against? Would you like that recorded? Please record that for Councillor Isles. Thank you, staff, for your mahi. Now we have one more resolution, and that is around the statement of the proposal for the 6 bylaws that needs to be approved. Sorry, I don't have this page as numbers in front of me. Page 77. There's no numbers on here. No, it's this one here. That's why I asked, should that be there? It's page 77 and it's recommendation 8, which is, oh, sorry, Harvey. Kia ora.
Kia ora. No, I'm sorry, I just wanted to point out now, there's a typo error in the recommendation 8. So it says, in the first bullet point, it says approved for public consultation the statement of proposal for the 6th bylaw, noting it will be updated to reflect Council's decision for recommendation 5, but it should be recommendation 6. So essentially it's around keeping of animals, stock, flock and bees, the 2 meter, 5 meter rules.
So I will correct that recommendation before I put it, ask for a mover and a seconder. So that will be corrected to have 6 instead of 5. So I ask for a mover and a seconder for the resolution that the Strategy and Policy Committee either approve for consultation the statement of proposal for the 6 bylaws, noting it will be updated to reflect the Council's decisions for recommendation 6, or that the Strategy and Policy Committee approve for consultation the statement of proposal for the 6 bylaws subject to an amendment that removes the consultation question relating to if dogs should be restricted on leash only at Ohope Beach from West End to Whakatane Surf Club and outside the Ohope Holiday Beach Park during peak seasonal periods, the period 20th of December to the 28th of February. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor.
I'm going to move the first one.
Approve. Okay. Councillor Hamill moves for, and then, okay, and a seconder, please. Mayor Nandor, thank you. We move into debate.
I'm probably not actually going to support that one. I prefer option 2. I think it's actually things are fine as they are, so I'll vote against it.
Two. We'll go around each so that we can find out which option they support. Mayor Nandor.
I'm not really, I don't have a strong opinion either way, actually. But my thinking is that we should put this to the community. I'm assuming it's come to us because we've got some agitation in the community. So I'm quite happy for the community to tell us their view. As I say, I don't have a strong opinion either way, and I'll be guided by what feedback we get back.
Thank you. Councillor Hamill. Obviously, you've supported, yeah.
Yeah, I have moved it because my personal view is that I think it isn't broken, but I want to hear what the community say and not stop that conversation happening. We can always decide at a later date.
Thank you. Councillor Dennis.
Yeah, I'd agree with that option. I think that people need to be able to tell us what they want.
Councillor.
And with the council, with public, same as Nandles.
That's the first one. Thank you. Councillor Whittaker. Option 1.
Same here, approved for public consultation, option 1.
Thank you. Councillor James.
Yeah, same thing, we need the consultation.
Thank you. And Councillor Amick, same. Okay. So all those in favour? Any against? Would you like that recorded? Thank you.
No, I'm happy for it.
Okay, thank you. Well done, whānau. 6 bylaws. I don't know if that's a record or not. So we heard about birds and bees and everything in between. But thank you so much to the mahi of our staff and also our councillors today for working through that as best as we could. I think we can look forward to our public being able to have a say and an input, and we look forward to that information being gathered and us being able to hear what they've said. Nā mihi kia koutou katoa. Oh, sorry. So we will be heading into public excluded. So I do have a resolution. I call for a mover and seconder for Councillor Amick, Councillor James, that for the grounds listed in the agenda, the Whakatane District Council agreed to exclude the public from the following parts of the proceedings of this meeting, namely 1, eyesight review, public excluded report. Put forward the motion. All those in favour? Any against? Thank you, whānau. Kia ora tātou. Thank you to everybody. The following two recommendations were made within the public excluded section of the meeting relating to the eyesight review report. One, that the Strategy and Policy Committee receive the eyesight review public excluded report, and two, that the Strategy and Policy Committee confirm the report can be released to the public on the Chief Executive's approval. Calling for a mover and seconder. Councillor Dennis, Councillor James. Oh, we don't. Oh, I'm restating. Okay. Thank you, whānau. Thank you to the councillors and our staff for our hui. We got there a little bit over time, but there was quite a few that we had to go through. Mihi to you too, Susan. Thank you, Lainey, and our governance staff. Oh, what do I have to say? Ai karakia. Yes, aroha mai. I'll close with a karakia. Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te atawhai o tō tātou ariki o i Hukaraiti, te aroha me te atua o te whiwhina o te tautanga, ake ake, āmine.